Hello ladies and gentlemen, Captain Shack here with TGN. I was looking through my Steam list today and I saw a bunch of strategy games that I was thinking, okay, you know, I want to play some of these. You know, a lot of these games on here weren't on the radar for very long. A lot of people didn't know about them, but they're really fantastic strategy games. So I decided to do a series, or at least a couple of episodes called Under the Radar. These are games that came out that you should own if you're a fan of these genres. Alright, so let's get into a couple of them. The first one was Dragon Commander. This one came out back in August of 2013, so this year. And it was a fantastic surprise. I actually got it as a gift. I hadn't heard about it. I didn't see anything on the development of the title. And then it came out. And what it is a really weird mix of some of the best games out there. It's like StarCraft meets a little bit of Mass Effect on a Civilizations kind of map. So how the single player works is you get a map, much like Civilizations, with your different little countries on it, and you can invade them, and it plays a lot like Civ in a turn-based manner. But through all this, you talk to your shipmates. They're kind of your entourage. That'll give you advice. They'll kind of give you the story in a Mass Effect style, talking to them, choosing responses, and through interacting with these characters, these really, really deep, interesting characters, you will have to make decisions on how you rule your empire, not from a general's perspective, but from a politician's perspective. So they'll have questions, and they're really tough questions. Questions like, do you mow down the forest to make room for roads? Well, roads will allow you to move troops faster. You'll be able to make a bunch of money real quickly so you can build troops, but you're gonna piss off your ally, the elves, if you go through and make the hard decisions. In my first playthrough of this title, I made all the decisions that made political sense to me, the ones that I felt strongly about. But I didn't take into account, I'm running a war here. I have an army, I have to keep the support of my allies. And in doing how I played it, taking all the decisions that seemed like the right moral choice, ended up making me lose the war. I couldn't beat the game without heavily relying on my other generals to do most of the fighting because I had lost the support of the people that I was fighting in their lands. The undead, for instance, hated me. It was interesting. It was a really awesome playthrough, and I didn't mind starting over. It was a lesson learned that, hey, you can't make these easy moral decisions and still expect to win the war. Now, the real twist in this game is once you get into the RTS level of it, once you go into combat on the board, you have a real-time command and conquer StarCraft kind of gameplay where you have a base and you build troops. It's a bit simplified compared to the two that I just mentioned, but there's a trick to it. You can hit one button in the middle of the fight and turn into a dragon and fly around, and the controls are really, really tight. Fly around and burn the ever-living crap out of your enemy. It's a fantastic gameplay element that I think more games should introduce, where you can actually jump down to the ground level of the fight and jump in a tank, or, you know, run around as a rifleman. You can't do that in this one, but you can turn into a dragon, fly around in the sky, and shoot fireballs. The second title was a bit, it's pretty well-known title, I think, but some people may have missed out on it in its heyday. It would be Sins of the Solar Empire. This is one of those games every space RTS fan should have. This is one that you should have, because you're not just buying Sins. And I'll explain that in a minute. When you buy Sins of the Solar Empire, you get the 3 races, they're all different, and it's one of the few games where you can actually play in that epic 4X game size and that scale. A 4X game is normally a turn-based game where you have the whole galaxy that you're fighting over. But it's always turn-based because of the size. It's too hard to micromanage a game that size in real time. So everyone thought, and then Sins of the Solar Empire came out, and you've got a game that moves fairly quickly in this massive scale where you can have multiple star systems and hundreds of ships battling out, multiple empires trying to vie for control of different star systems. It's a fantastic game. Now, when I said you're not just getting that game, Sins has modding support. And there are multiple total conversions, so you're really buying like 7 or 8 games all in one. If you can think up a sci-fi series, favorite sci-fi television series, they've probably got a mod for it. You ever want to command the Federation fleet from Star Trek? You can do that. There are 2 mods actually for Star Trek. There's a Halo mod, Sins of the Prophets. If you ever wanted to command the Pillar of Autumn and the UNSC forces, you know, defending Earth, you can do that and fight the Covenant. Actually, I think that one's coming out this month. There's a Star Trek one coming out this month on the 25th called Armada 3, and there's one that's been out for quite a while, and they've had a long time to kind of balance the sides. It's a really good one called Sacrifice of Angels, which I recommend both of those games. I have them both installed. There's also one for Stargate, and there's a couple ones that like rebalance the original game or add new sides to the original factions. I recommend you guys head over to Mod Database and check out the huge list of mods for that title. Alright, I got 2 left that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Men of War is one that I just picked up. There's like 4 of them in the franchise. I haven't dived too deeply in them, but they were highly recommended after I did my TG10, Top 10 Real-Time Strategy Games. It is it's a Vietnam one. There's a World War II era one. That's the one that I've been playing and having a lot of fun with. It's a lot like Company of Heroes, but even more depth to it, but the controls are a little harder to get used to. But I recommend giving that one a shot if you're a fan of Company of Heroes but want something different. And the last one that I'm going to mention, I could probably do another episode on this topic, is Stronghold 1. Not Stronghold 2 or Stronghold, I think there's a third one. Stronghold 1. It had a 2D art style, kind of reminiscent of Age of Empires 1 and 2. But it was really in-depth. If you wanted to build a sword, you had to have people chopping down wood to like light the fires to go. You had to go mine the ore had to be refined, then you had to have a blacksmith actually forge the sword, then you had to recruit the infantry. You actually got to see all the people in your castle doing their individual jobs to make an army. And just like the real-world military, for every 1 combat troop, there are 200 people there allowing him to do his job. That allow him to keep the aircraft running, get the weapons prepped, get them, in the air where they need to be, supplying him with food, boots, clothing, bullets, you name it. It's the same thing in this, but from a medieval perspective, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely cool. It has a really fun campaign as well. I really recommend that one. Alright guys, well, this wraps up this kind of new series Under the Radar. I may do one for RPGs. I may do another RTS one. Let me know in the comments below, what genre would you like to see? I've got a ton of RPG games that have gone under the radar when they came out. They didn't sell all that well, but they're fantastic games. Same with real-time strategy games. I got like another 6 on the list I can think of. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe here to TGN for more gaming goodness, and as always, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.